I'm glad we're with you.
It's my talent. This one is really obvious that I can actually see the snail, but quite often I'm just reading the patterns in the sand. So this is a moon snail. It's a big predatory snail that eats clams. If you ever find a clamshell that has a perfectly round hole, that's going to be from a moon snail that ate it. And I'm just going to dig it out to show you where it is. You can see the shell, nice and hard. The shells always have a swirl to them. So some people call it the eye, but it's not for seeing. And then they have this fleshy foot. And so I'm going to go underneath the foot and lift it fully out, supporting it as I go. Oh my gosh! Let me dip them real quick. So, yeah, so they're really big snails. This is the foot. It secretes mucus as they travel along. So sometimes what you'll see is like their mucus trail. And that cuts the friction of the sand. You could imagine having a really soft, squishy body. Rubbing against sand would be really uncomfortable. They're really sensitive to touch, so when you touch them, they react and move. If you flip them over, you can see some of that mucus that they make. Kind of gross. But they feel like if raw chicken breast could move. So
Do people eat them?
they have been eaten for thousands of years, but there are so many other things that are more edible where you find these, like clams. So the only people that eat them would be natives. They're not a legal harvest species here in Washington, so you gotta leave them. They're important. They're predators. You can think of them as like the wolves of the intertidal zone, chasing down the clams. They're so cool. So this little curl of flesh works like a snorkel. And so sometimes the only sign of a moon snail will be like a little bit of a mound and like a little tiny opening. When they're like, especially like at low tide when the water's gone. And then, but yeah, what I always tell my like moon snail tell is gonna be like a mound of cracked sand, and sometimes there'll be like a track that leads to a mound, and you can like, oh, there's a moon snail there. That's how I find the little ones. Like you find the little tracks in the sand because we have reduced crab populations. So crabbing has been closed for like, I think 6 years. Marine Area 13, really depressed populations of crabs, and those red rock crabs eat these guys. And so with the lack of the predator and an abundant food source, there's plenty of clams around for them to eat. These guys are experiencing a little bit of a boom in their population. They're slow to reproduce. They make a lot of eggs each year, but very few of them survive. So they're lucky if they replace themselves. So it's not like they're going to overpopulate and decimate all their clams.